Welcome to this video of a presentation recorded from a live online meeting of the Silicon Valley Macintosh user group.
Okay, so twice before I've done some presentations on artificial intelligence, focusing mostly on image generation. I'm going to give you a little update this month. So this is my third in that series. And I want to start actually by just quickly closing out some of the last issues on image generation, because as you may recall, we had seen that the creation of hands in an image was very lacking. And I think that's been greatly improved. Okay, so our agenda, we're going to update on image generation. I'm going to talk to you about the current big AI corporations. And there are several controversies that came up this month that I think are interesting. Okay, so what about hands? Well, if you look at the image to the right, you'll notice this is awfully good. There's no sixth finger, there's no stubby fingers, there's no weird distortion or anything. It really greatly improved. That's very fascinating. There's some other examples. There's one by Dali, and I don't see much to complain about here. Maybe the fingernail polish is a little inconsistent or something, but otherwise it's pretty good. Here's one from Mid-Journey. Okay, same comments. Here's one from Stable Diffusion. Perspective is a little crazy on it because they basically made it a macro on the thumb, but still it's pretty good. And three more examples. These are from Firefly. And you can see that in each case, it is doing a decent job. In the upper right, that's the only one you might be worried about because it looks like the index finger is somehow hidden. But that could actually be because it's behind the glass. Now, I still feel that Firefly is best, at least by my eye. And I do prefer to use it because it has all these other capabilities that have been rolled out this month. We have our text effects, our generative recolor, text to template, and very interesting inside Adobe Illustrator text to vector. So you can now give it a vector prompt and create a vector illustration. And the integration in Photoshop and Photoshop Express is good. And as before, because Adobe is very careful what they train their system on, there's no copyright worries. Okay. Oh, and this is just a little goof I did. I was asked to create a computer club meeting in a Gothic cathedral, and this is what I got. So it's just for a little fun there. Okay, let's move on and talk about big artificial intelligence. So here we have a list of the major players in the AI space. And just this month, Google has released their Gemini Ultra system. Not really released, it's been shown. They have released a pro version and a nano version, and I'll be talking about that more. But the capabilities of the system seem to be very good. Then we have XAI, and Grok has been put out. I'm not sure it was done in the past month. It may be a little bit before that. But if you have a pro account on X, then you have access to Grok. And I do, so I've played with it. I also included under that same corporation the full self-driving and the Optimus robot. Optimus Generation 2 was also released, and it seems to have some amazing capabilities from its own software system in terms of what it can do. Anthropic has Claude, and I have not played with it much, but it's noted because its big investor is Amazon. So you kind of wonder what Amazon is going to be getting into with it. OpenAI, of course, with GPT, DALI, and QStar, with its big investor being Microsoft. And there's some controversies we'll be discussing on that. Mistral, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, is French. It is basically three independent developers who have put together their own large language system. And then there is Alliance AI, and they're kind of interesting. You may remember in the history that OpenAI started off as being a open source uh, operation that was going to be not for profit. It was going to be completely transparent and so forth. And then abruptly, it turned into a proprietary uh, outfit for profit with lots of secrecy. And this really disturbed people, especially Elon Musk. He dropped out of OpenAI for that reason. Uh, of course, he is now running his own for profit XAI, which is kind of interesting. Anyway, Alliance AI uh, is been formed by a group of tech companies, and it's supposed to do what OpenAI was originally intended to do: be open source, to be transparent, to make a system available to all. And we'll see how well that goes down. Over on the right-hand side, I wanted to mention Hugging Face. If you ever wondered where you can go to get models and packages and so forth for playing with AI, that's the place to go. And of course, NVIDIA, is making massive profits over the NVIDIA cards and chips, which everyone is using. And then there's TSMC that makes all the chips. You have people like NVIDIA, you have Tesla that's designing their own chips, you have Apple that, of course, is designing its chips in M series. But they all have a bottleneck in that TSMC is the principal maker of these chips. And if you caught on CBS, their little report on TSMC and the Taiwan situation, it's something to be kind of nervous about because there's a feeling that China is gearing up to just sweep over the China Sea and take over Taiwan and basically nationalize TSMC. And where would that leave us? And our own State Department is very concerned and what this will mean. Now, as it happens, TSMC is building fabs on this continent, and it may sound fanciful, but I could easily see their executives and staff and employees making an escape should China try to sweep into Taiwan and shift operations completely to over here. But we'll just have to see how this goes down. That's a massive operation to shift, and it is a big vulnerability for us. Okay, and I think Linda will probably have a lot to say about that at some point because she knows about it. Okay, what about Apple? And I put crickets because Apple is just so very silent about what they're doing. Well, they have released their framework, MLX, will allow outside developers to build machine learning systems. But in their own products, they very carefully avoid using the phrase AI or artificial intelligence. I've actually been told that it is forbidden to appear in any marketing documentation. But they are embedding intelligent features into their products. And one of these is a more conversational AppleCare chat. So when you go to AppleCare and we're talking with it, you're probably talking to a fairly advanced AI now. They also have auto-generated playlists that they're putting into iTunes, Apple Music, and auto-create slide decks for Keynote. There have been some third-party companies that try to do this. Tune comes to mind. It's a very small one. but I believe you'll be seeing this in Keynote, where you'll give it an outline of what you want for a presentation, and it will basically give you a draft set of cards, for you to work from. And I'm sure that we'll find it in other things. I would not be beyond the idea that features that we currently get out of add-ons such as Grammarly might show up natively in Pages and other places. Okay. Now, what do I use? Well, I have some public and some by subscription. I use GPT-4 a lot, Bard, and Grok. I played a little bit with Bing, which is a variation of GPT-4. And what Bing does is that it will start with a GPT-4 response, but then it will verify it with web searches and some other verification tools. For images, I do like Firefly the best, but I also have DALL-E and Midjourney and Stable Diffusion. And for video, I've been using Synthesia, which you may recall from some previous presentations. Okay, GPT 4.5 Turbo. Some people notice that if you ask GPT-4, you get access with your subscription account. If you ask it, what version are you? It would come back and say, well, I'm GPT 4.5 Turbo. And, several different people reported on this independently. However, Sam Altman has said nope. He's been, quite upfront, that it was not true. And it's simply being referred to as a weirdly consistent hallucination. The GPT-4 being asked about itself for some reason, is coming up with the 4.5 turbo response. Just isn't true. And I will note that I have not seen any performance jump on GPT-4 that would suggest that it's true. So it probably is not true. On the other hand, I would expect GPT 4.5 Turbo to pop up any month now, maybe even any week now. And we'll see how big of a change it will be. There have been, a lot of claims. They say that this will be the path to an actual artificial general intelligence and so forth. But, we'll just have to see. Ready? Oh, and I just wanted to show you this something quite different. As I mentioned, I use Synthesia a bit, and it is now possible to create a virtual avatar of yourself. So I wanted to show you the result of that. So this is me.
This is a short demo video of my custom avatar speaking a text. The avatar was created by using a video of me speaking and moving to prompts provided by the application. Once a custom avatar is generated, it can be animated to match any desired text, such as this one.
Now, of course, that isn't my voice, but they tell me that they will be tooled up for me to create a model for my own voice in the future. And then I can do this with a script. Another thing that they are working on is what they refer to as a multiple avatar duet, where you can write a script that will involve more than one avatar and have them exchange conversationally words based on your script. I don't know how the Hollywood people feel about that, but it's coming. All right. All right, let's talk about some controversies. I seem to be moving pretty fast here, but maybe all guys will have some questions. Okay, Sam Altman's ouster and comeback. This was very bizarre. Out of nowhere, the OpenAI board bumped Sam Altman out of the company, out of being the CEO. And there are all kinds of claims about why it was being done. The first one I heard was that it was a communication problem, that they were upset that Sam Altman had not been telling the board about some of his activities, in particular where he was trying to set up new fabs for producing chips. Now, they said that was a great idea, but they hadn't been informed about it. So that was one thing that was claimed. Then there were other claims that were made, that he was moving too fast, things of that nature. And as I put here in the paragraph, there were things they were concerned about his leadership style and what they said was psychological abuse. But here's the weird part. Apparently, his employees like Sam Altman, and when the board tried to oust him, they all signed this letter that said that if Sam goes, they go too. And Microsoft was saying, great, I have positions for all of you right here. And that basically caused the board to do an about face. They dropped several board members that, they decided were a problem. And, so in 5 days, including a weekend, I mean, this was like from a Friday to the next Tuesday, um, he was out and then he's back. And that's just insane. Um, the board was changed because Microsoft became a board member, non-voting, it says, but they became a board member. And you really kind of wonder what was going on in the back rooms on this whole deal. Microsoft was upset because the board initially ousted Sam Altman without talking to Microsoft first. And I think that really pissed them off. So we'll see. Oh yeah, and just reiterating some of that stuff. It's still fragile. Uh, you know, yeah, we'll see what happens. Um, the indication seems to be that as far as the employees are concerned at OpenAI, Sam Altman is very solid. But and I think he's probably solid with Microsoft too. But who knows what's going on? Q star, and it is Q asterisk, but it's pronounced Q star. Well, this is claimed to have been an unfortunate leak of information about a whole new type of artificial intelligence system. Uh, I understand that Q-Star is supposed to be a collection of modules, including large language modules, but other modules, uh, be a new way to do this. And it too is one of the contenders for producing an artificial general intelligence. So we have two things coming out of OpenAI. One says that GPT 4.5 Turbo is going to be the major turnaround and take us to the next level. And then we have this other one that says this mysterious Q star is going to do that. Let's see, I think I have some more to say about that. Okay. Supposedly it was written from the ground up to be a general intelligence. And it is claimed, for example, that it learned how to do basic arithmetic and some basic math all on its own without it being actually trained in that. It was simply let loose and it came up with it. So, we'll see what happens. And it has the usual claims that, of what it might do. Um, but right now it is still, pretty much, I don't know how to describe it. We got a name. We know it is Q star. We don't actually know what it's going to do. And that's the truth of the matter. Gemini Ultra. Okay, our next controversy. Well, this was introduced this month, and there are a number of professional marketing videos about it, that are not controversial at all. However, an engineer produced and published a demonstration video. And the problem is that he produced this using still images and typed in prompts. But then he created a video by using speech and live video motions of inputting, images for Gemini Ultra to interpret. And he had the responses from Gemini Ultra being spoken back as if Gemini Ultra was doing that. No, Gemini Ultra was looking at still images, text prompts, and producing text prompts back. But he engineered, or rather produced a video that, made it look like Gemini Ultra was doing a live vision interpretation of the guy asking questions verbally and showing him pictures, showing Gemini Ultra pictures. Well, that caused a really big furor. There were people that initially had thought it was for real, and then they found out it was faked, and they were, embarrassed and upset by that. And then there were the people who said, well, what does this do to investors? This is a public company, and you're basically faking something that you've shown to investors. And that's a big no-no. Now it seems to have blown over. People have, said, okay, whatever. And they're not too worried about it. But nonetheless, it was a bit of a problem. Now, Gemini Ultra, what it actually is a multimodal system. It will respond to video, will respond to images, speech, text, will do all that. It will process it through different modules, depending upon what it has, and then produce an output that is both visual and audio and textual. But we can't find out about that yet. It's Gemini Ultra is not available outside of the people at DeepMind. What they have made available are two simpler systems, Gemini Pro and Gemini Nano. And the Pro version is maybe the equal of GPT-4. Okay, that's all it is. The Nano version is a really simple version that is installable locally on Android devices. Now that's significant. Okay, so it's multimodal. It's going to excel at understanding and processing all these different formats. For the benchmarks, it's doing very well. At least it's claimed to be doing very well. Bear in mind that when I say that it has surpassed these results, we are being told by DeepMind that it has surpassed these results. No one has tested it outside of Google, but they do say that it is doing quite well. So we'll just have to see. Claims like that it is beating everybody on math, physics, history, and law, and so forth. When will we see it? Sometime in 2024, and I'm kind of thinking it's going to be fairly early on because they now have to, follow up that demonstration by letting people actually try it.
I am going to jump in here. Deep learning and reinforcement learning are both subfields of artificial intelligence, AI, but they differ significantly in their approaches and applications. Deep learning is a subset of machine learning involving many layers of neural networks. These neural networks attempt to simulate the behavior of the human brain, albeit in a very simplified form, to process data and create patterns for decision-making. Deep learning turns to piles of labeled data and a variety of neural network architectures to learn. The more layers it employs, the more complex features it can extract and learn from. Thanks to this, we have stunning breakthroughs like voice assistants understanding human commands, smartphones recognizing faces, and even medical diagnoses based on imaging technology. Reinforcement learning is a type of machine learning where an agent learns to make decisions by performing actions in an environment to achieve some goal. The learning process is based on the agent being rewarded or penalized for the actions it takes. Both branches of AI have sparked technological revolutions, but they differ in application. Deep learning feeds on large data sets, while reinforcement learning learns from single instances of action and reward. Deep learning is commonly used for static data processing, like image and speech recognition. In contrast, Reinforcement learning is suited for dynamic environments where agents must make decisions, like in robotics or gaming.
DeepMind uses a technique called deep learning, which is using neural networks that can learn from large data sets. OpenAI is focused on reinforcement learning. Uh, you know, Gemini Ultra supposedly combines both of these. At least that's what they have said. And again, you know, it's just what we're hearing. We don't really know. So that's why I say there's lots of buzzwords and not that much clarity. And I reiterate here that it's in 3 systems. You can use the Gemini Pro via bard.google.com /chat. And supposedly on Androids, we're going to see this small version to be installed. I kind of wonder if that's going to drive Apple to upgrade Siri, because they're going to have to match that somehow. You know, if Androids are getting Gemini Nano, then, you know, Apple has to provide a better Siri. This is the little graphic that Google has released themselves. You can see that on the Ultra side, it's supposed to imply that you have all these different streams of input, visual, audio, text. It's routed to the appropriate transformers and processors, different modules, and then it's able to output to appropriate media. The Pro is simply a simplified version of that is text only right now, and the Nano even simpler still. Okay, and finally, Channel 1 is a app that you will be able to get that is going to use fully computer-generated avatars as news presenters. Now, my understanding is that human reporters will still gather the news and they will do the on-scene videos, but the presentation is a set of avatars that are fully virtual, generated from scratch by the computer. If you want to take a look at it, there's a website that I've listed here, www.channel1.ai. Has a 21-minute example episode. They say that with the app, you'll be able to customize the type of news that you want to see, and the other avatars will present it to you in a video audio format. So that will be interesting. And that's going to be coming up in February of 2024. Okay. And let's see, I think that is all that I had. Yeah. So let's open for some discussion. By the way, I do have the various chat bots up if anyone wants to try something. If you wish. But does anyone want to raise any issues or ask any questions or provide their own input? Just go ahead and unmute if you do.
Robert, if you're willing to try an experiment, I have, it's going to take me just a second to find it, but I have a cat. We're doing some remodeling in the house, and I have a cabinet style. And it would be really interesting to me if I can get that to you and you could feed it to, pick one of these AIs that you say, that you have operational and say, what can you match this? Can you give me the name of a commercially viable cabinet that matches this style?
Let's start by looking at Bard. So we've uploaded the image to Bard and asked the question, who is a cabinet maker that can match the style in this image? And it basically just returns some tips on searching for a cabinet maker without actually telling us who might be able to do it. Just a very general response, and actually I kind of thought it was obvious. Next, we do the same thing using ChatGPT, the version 4. And as it was processing, I noticed that it first searched the web, and then it went to Yelp and came up with the list you see here of actual cabinet makers, which is what we wanted.
Other things on this, Mark. One is that a basic application that people have shown, especially for the chat things, has been, hey, I'm visiting this particular city for an afternoon. What should I stop and look at? Here's what's important to me. Here's where I'm starting. Here's where I'm ending.
Yeah.
What can I do?
Well, yeah, a lot of people have used it for that purpose, both GPT-3 and 4. And I'm sure they've been doing it with the earlier Bard, as well. And I believe that people have said that usually these systems have done a fair job of building tour itineraries. Probably because that kind of information is very much widely available on the web, and they can find good sources for it.
Right.
But yes, I know that people have been doing a lot of that.
And Dave Oster also has his hand back up again, or still?
Yeah, I think the URL is just gemini.google.com/chat. You can type it in yourself. You don't have to sign up for anything.
Yeah, that's correct.
It's okay. Put that down, or hand that. What is it again?
Gemini.google.com/chat.
Bard.google.com/chat.
Oh, I'm sorry. You have it bard.google. Thank you.
Google.com/chat.
Yeah. And the claim is that currently that is in fact incorporating Gemini Pro.
It is incorporating Gemini.pro. Is that what you said?
That it's using Gemini Pro as its engine.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Another question on this kind of a scalar sort of thing. I mean, obviously Gemini is not going to be something you can run locally. It takes a gigantic server to make its actions happen. Is any of this more conducive if I want to run one on my local machine in a private environment?
Well, the Gemini Nano supposedly is going to be packaged exactly for that for Android devices. And I would assume that it will in very short order be packaged for almost any platform. But we'll see. You can already, download installable small language models from Hugging Face and install that yourself. It's not very straightforward. It takes a bit of effort, but you can do that and play with it as a local language model.
Yeah.
Board.
We're still talking about something that takes a large amount of processing power. So probably not something that your laptop is going to easily do, if at all.
Well, certainly not the Gemini Ultra, and certainly not things like GPT-4 and 4.5 Turbo and so on. But there are smaller models. You may recall that a few months ago we were kind of looking at Alpaca, which was the Stanford model. The joke being that alpacas are smaller than llamas. But no one still gets that, no? I mean, that's...
I didn't hear. Charles laughed. I missed it.
Okay.
Charles laughed. So whatever it was you said.
Obscure reference acknowledged.
See, large language model, it's usually LLAMA, llama.
Llama. Okay.
So alpacas are smaller than llamas.
Yeah.
And there are other ones out there as well that you could get. But I think that that's still, as you say, not very practical.
I mentioned during the news that there is an app that is evidently now free for voice chatting for iOS. So both the pad and the and phone. So there is that one out there too.
Oh, you're referring to Mac GPT?
I think it's Mac GPT. But what's interesting about it is they didn't mention the Mac, they mentioned iOS. So,
Well,
so I have to go look at
yeah,
it.
my understanding is, and maybe I'm wrong, but my understanding is that it's not a local system. That in fact is passing the queries up to the server system.
Yeah, that's my understanding too. I did not dig deeply into it. I just saw the one press article, but it is my understanding that, yeah, that's going to be local. So it
I mean,
depends on what your, what your criteria are. I don't really care if anybody knows that I'm looking for a particular cabinet style. That's not, I'm not asking the world's most personal question on something like that because you just do a web search on that. So, but there might be some other questions that one would want privacy, you know. So
okay, anything else?
other people? Oh, wait, Bev Andrews has her hand up.
It took me a while to figure out where it was on the iPad. Sorry. Um, My question is, at, do you think when AI becomes very prominent, that we'll be able to tell when it's the actual person and when it's an AI figure?
Okay. Um, the ultimate goal is to basically make it indistinguishable. Okay. However, there is socially a move to make sure that there is always some sort of way of labeling a virtual person as being different from a real person. Um, maybe it would be a badge or something else that would appear on the screen. Um, in image generation through Adobe, they always put something into the metadata that indicates that generative imaging was used. Um, and that's what they think will be a standard. As for virtual assistants, uh, I would suspect there will probably be some sort of move to somehow badge them uh, and uh, uh, and have that going. Of course, bear in mind that you know almost anything you want to do to watermark or otherwise label a video or whatever can be undone, and we're going to be facing a lot of fake videos, deep fakes, and so forth, especially since uh, uh, as you know, this is an Olympic year, and I'm sure the Olympics will be completely pounded by deep fake videos. I'm joking because, of course, it's also the election year, and that's where it's really going to be happening.
Yep.
You know, so uh, we'll see what happens with that. Um, there's already been quite a few examples, and I'm sure there'll be a lot more coming up.
Other people?
That's the only thing that scares me about AI is that you won't be able to tell.
Well, what did you think of my avatar, the one that I played for you? Um, my voice was distinctly not my voice, but that's going to be fixed pretty soon. Um, and then anyone who has access to that avatar and the voice model could make a video of me saying anything at all
Right.
that they choose. Uh, Now, Synthesia protects me by making the ones that I create like that available to only me, but that might get hacked or whatever. Um, or it could be that they'll, offer money. They'll say, "Hey, if you let other people use your avatar, we'll give you a nickel every time it happens." Um, which might end up being not inconsiderable. Um, so who knows? Um,
But they can capture your voice too and put the words together to make you say anything
well, yes.
and use your avatar.
Yeah. Right now, to generate a voice model, you have to read a very specific text for the system to analyze it and create the various phonemes and so forth that are going to be used for your speech. Because I've gone through that, and you basically have a little 15-minute text of specific phrases and other things that you have to go through. But yeah, it is possible that, like Mission Impossible in the movie, where they grab just enough of your voice and then to be able to create a convincing simulation. But we'll see what happens. Of course, there are some people who say that maybe in politics it'd be best to go all the way and just have an AGI hold the congressional and presidential offices, get away from all of these various petty concerns that people put in there. Of course, then you get into questions of alignment. Alignment is where we ask, are the desires and motives of the artificial intelligence the same as the desires and motives of human beings? What's going to happen there? But yeah, I'm actually kind of looking forward to hearing the first AGI, speak and tell us what it actually thinks. Large language models have been criticized as really just being fancy copy systems. That they've been trained by reading everything on the web, and all they're doing is trying to reconstruct a text using that information, and nothing original, no real thought involved, and so forth. And when you see systems like Gemini Ultra that is going to use many more modules trained in different ways than the large language models, you kind of wonder, are ideas about emergence where it would start having originality, just because it has sufficient computational space, is that going to happen? I don't know. We'll just have to kind of wait and see. And how will we tell? It's hard enough to know when somebody's being original now. Certainly I've read enough papers that did not seem to be all that original in physics and elsewhere. But we'll just have to wait to see. Even if it's not original, there is a lot to say about meta research, where if something is just able to bring together the existing research done by people and correlate it and find things that were overlooked, that's quite important. And I think the large language models will be very good for that.
Okay, thank you.
Robert, you asked Bev about your avatar. To me, looking at it, it looks a lot like you. It looks like you, but there's something about it that looks too perfect. And I don't, yeah, it's true. It's
Well, if you looked at the other Synesthesia professional avatars, that is very definitely something you notice. They are perfect people.
right.
Now I should note that Synesthesia has two types of avatars. The larger group is done by professional actors. They get professional actors to go through a studio session where they perform various motions while speaking and so forth that are analyzed and used to build a set of, I don't know what you would call it, video animations that can be strung together and used to build the gestures and the motions of the face and so forth for a given text. they correlate it to what the text is. By the way, in your script, when you write it for these avatars, you're able to also insert uh, uh, gesture annotations. So you can say, okay, nod here, or shake your head here, or whatever. You can do that in the script. So you got little stage directions you can put in there. But anyway, the majority of them are done by professional actors. And they have recently started to introduce ones that are entirely virtual. They basically went to a image generator and said what they wanted to see, and produce these. So it will probably move in that direction because the virtual avatars are cheaper than the professional actor ones. Although as we have seen with the recent Hollywood strike, there's going to be a lot of pushback on that. And I wonder how much pushback Channel 1 News is going to get, with its completely virtual presenters. By the way, they look pretty good. You should really look at that 21-minute demo that they put out, to see how they're doing that.
Where was the URL for that again? It was on your
Let's see, that was www.channel1.ai.
and is it ONE spelled out? Channel ONE? Or is it channel 1, the number?
Oh, just the numeral 1.
Numeral
Channel
1.
1.
Yeah, gotcha. Thank you. Charles is typing it in.
Yeah, this will be on the website,
Right. I just, thought I would ask real quick. Yeah, he's got it right there. Okay. All right, cool.
I hope you found this video presentation by the Silicon Valley Macintosh User Group informative and useful. I'd like to invite you to subscribe to our channel. The buttons for subscribing, receiving notifications, and tagging this video with a like are below. Choosing one or two, or all three options will help promote our videos. The Silicon Valley Macintosh User Group, SVMUG, is one of the most long-running groups for persons interested in the Macintosh computer, iPhone, iPad, Apple TV, and other Apple products. Our focus is on the user experience. However, we also discuss various related technological and social topics. Our live online meetings feature recent news, a topical presentation, and a question and answer session. Information about our online meeting may be found on the group's website. A link is shown in the video description.